The Trump administration announced today it will impose tariffs on several of its key allies. Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross announced steep new tariffs on steel and aluminum imports from the European Union, Canada, and Mexico. The tariffs, 25% on imports of steel and 10% on aluminum, take effect at midnight. Back in March, President Trump gave the countries temporary exemptions while he tried to force them into concessions, but that didn't work. And now the EU is threatening to retaliate with punitive taxes on U.S. exports like motorcycles, bourbon, and denim jeans. Jordan Goodman joins me now on set. He is a personal finance expert. Jordan, thanks so much for being with us. Let's start with how all of this will affect the average American.
Prices are going up. Everything that you buy that's going to be imported is going to go up 10 to 25%. That's already happened with steel and aluminum. And when you get a Harley-Davidson motorcycle or whatever, anything we are importing, the price is going to go up. We talked about a 20% tariff on any cars imported from Mexico, for example.
Right.
So Europe, Canada, Mexico, and then China's coming next.
Right.
So for U.S. consumers, we're the ones paying the bills.
This is the warm-up. You said China is next.
This is the warm-up. This is, as of June 1st, tomorrow, the exemptions go away, so these tariffs are going to go on them. But the warm-up is June 15th. He's going to announce the specific products that would have 25% tariffs from China.
But this is definitely happening. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah.
Because
the war is on.
Secretary of Commerce Wilbur Ross said, well, wait a minute, everybody, this is happening, but there's still negotiations in place.
The Europeans said no. Actually, the Europeans said, if you put a gun to our head, we're not talking. So they have a disagreement. And Wilbur Ross is in Paris right now,
right,
supposedly talking to them, and they're getting nowhere.
So what details do we know? I mean, the EU has just mentioned how it will retaliate. Canada and Mexico have also said they will retaliate. Have they released any details yet?
Mexico has not. Canada has some fruits and blueberries, apples, various things like that. It's going to be a very wide amount of things. And then if we do these, we're talking about like 1,000 different products. I mean, it would be very, very widespread.
President Trump has said this is all to protect American industry, to protect the American economy. Do economists believe that that is what this does?
No, no economist believes this. I mean, basically Trump's attitude is threaten people with punitive tariffs, and they'll give in and give us what we want. So about 2 weeks ago, all the top U.S. trade officials, the Commerce Secretary, the Treasury Secretary, the Trade Representative, all went to China and made all kinds of demands. We want $200 billion lower tariffs. Gotten absolutely nowhere, and the Chinese are not giving in. They don't want to lose face.
And now, the economists aren't the only ones who don't think that this will work. Senator Ben Sasse, a Republican, came out strongly against it, saying, "This is dumb." That's a quote. And he says that these are the kinds of policies that led to the Great Depression.
Correct.
Is he right about that?
So in 1931, they had the so-called Smoot-Hawley tariffs because things were contracting. It was tariffs on 10,000 products from around the world. All the countries around the world immediately retaliated, exactly what's happening right now, and it led to the Depression. Trade dropped 60% the next year.
But clearly the administration must know all of this, right? These are lessons from history. So what is Wilbur Ross, what is President Trump's ultimate goal here?
Well, they want more American exports and more jobs, more things made here, which is an admirable thing. In many cases, we don't make these things. There's, for example, a lot of disruption in the steel and aluminum supply chain right now because we don't make a lot of these things. It's hard for companies using those things to find what they need without having to get it from China. I mean, he wants America first, which is great, but China thinks China first and Europe thinks Europe first. And the result is you're going to have this huge clash. And this is going to affect the markets as well. The stock market's down today in this. And this has not been factored in. People thought, oh, they'll work it out.
Is it down on this specific news?
It is. It is. Because this is really going to hurt American multinationals. Say you're Boeing and you sell 25% of your jets to China, or Caterpillar, or 3M, or all kinds of companies. If we have embargoes and higher tariffs, that is disastrous for these companies.
So U.S. manufacturers and U.S. agriculturalists, the very people that this policy is meant to help, are coming out against it?
Correct. So agriculture is our biggest thing. For example, soybeans. We export $14 billion worth of soybeans to China. Some ships with soybeans going on are already being turned around because they're going to refuse accepting those soybeans. That's hurting American farmers right in the core of Trump's support in the Middle West. Just like Ben Sasse, lots of other agricultural senators are going to say, wait a minute, don't hurt our farmers.
So could part of this be President Trump's posturing, a little art of the deal? I'm going to threaten this, but actually I'm going to back off.
Well, he's been threatening for a while, and now he's actually doing it. And he thought that his threats would actually, change things around. It's the exact opposite. I've been to China, and a big part of the way they think is they have to save face. They can't be looking like they're backing down or being bullied into something. The harder we come at them, the harder they come back at us. They've said, we don't want a trade war, but if you're going to do it, we'll do it.
And what is it looking like to you, Jordan?
I think we're going to have a trade war. It's starting tonight.
All right, Jordan Goodman, thank you so much for your time.